So welcome back to DecoyNoise and another episode of Am I the Antagonist? And am I the antagonist for telling my 9-month pregnant girlfriend we are not getting rid of our 4-month-old puppy just because she's getting overwhelmed? So with everything crazy going on in the world, I want to make sure you're taking at least 2 breaks a day. By subscribing to DecoyNoise with the notifications on, I can remind you every day at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time to just chill out, relax, judge some strangers online with me because it makes us feel better about ourselves, maybe? I don't know. So let's just get to the story right now. OP writes, for starters, she's 39 weeks. She's literally about to pop. She also got the dog without consulting me. It was literally a spur-of-the-moment thing with her, and at not one time did I complain about it or trip. He's a loveliest golden lab mix with green eyes. I will say he's a handful, and though our apartment's spacious, it's only so big. I feel like he sleeps most of the time, but when he's in play mode, he can be a bit much. I pretty much chalk it down to the lack of special attention. Obviously, she's pregnant, so the urge to take him out and walk him on a consistent basis while I'm at work is rather non-existent. I'm not saying she doesn't at all, but I feel like it's a properly trained dog is gonna behave and adhere to the house rules, so I have to take him out at least twice a day, and to the park at least twice a week. Though I'm well aware that he should be at the park a lot more. Secondly, I just feel like she's missing the principle. She took on the responsibility, and now she's overwhelmed. She even laughed when her sister-in-law suggested we put him on the side of the road at her sister's Mother's Day dinner. Not to mention she rushed into finalizing to move into our current apartment, which she low-key hates. She's a serial offender when it comes to this type of stuff. Furthermore, I feel a compromise with literally everything. Whenever her 4 nieces and nephew want to come over, I might complain, but I give in. I give in to whatever she wants to eat, whatever she wants to drink. When we order food, I pay all the bills and utilities. I pay whenever she needs her hair done, etc. She literally has 0 responsibilities, she hardly cooks or cleans, and I get it, she's pregnant. I just feel as though she can be a really selfish person at times, but this time she's gone too far. I've invested financially and emotionally into the dog, and we haven't even had him for a full month. She gave me an ultimatum, which is me or the dog. I responded to, no, it's me and Cujo or nothing. We also named him Cujo. I could be wrong in the entire situation, but I'm not budging. So, am I the antagonist? So in typical DecoyNoise fashion, we take the case, we bring it to Decoy Court, where I kind of give you my knee-jerk reaction. We'll go ahead and read some top comments, read those controversial comments, read your comments down below, and then do that Decoy Deliberation, where in the comment section, we figure out who's a true antagonist and what a theoretical punishment for said antagonist would be. So let's go ahead and just jump right into this one right now with the way my take on it is, I'm a big advocate of the saying, people treat you the way you let them. And it seems that you're giving in to everything. She's going to take everything until you finally put your foot down. And in her situation, it's like, you know, why ever face the consequences of her actions when no one ever makes you face the consequences of your action? It seems like you just say, oh yeah, you can get a puppy, go ahead and get a puppy. Move us to this place. Oh, you hate the place and you hate the puppy? Okay, let's get rid of both of them. Like, that's not how life works, but he's just kind of enabling it. And here's the idea is like, you know, yes, she's pregnant. Cater to her needs, that's good. Like, you know, you're a family unit, that's really good that you feel that way. But it's like, just because you're pregnant doesn't mean you get to check out of life. Like, oh, I'm pregnant now, so I can adopt a puppy and send him away because I'm pregnant. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, through all my years of working, I've seen plenty of people that work full-time hours until like the day they pop. They'll get pregnant and just keep on trucking on. Now, that being said, there's some pregnancies that are more difficult than others, but unless we see something on her end where like, there's lots of allergies during the pregnancy, or she's in danger due to the dog, or there's some sort of, like, you know, complication with her particular pregnancy and the dog, then that's justifiable. But I've seen it, like, you know, it doesn't seem like it really changes her life that much. She doesn't walk it, she doesn't have to deal with it. It's just a dog that's hyper, it's a puppy. And I just can't see her justifying getting the dog the boot. So that being said, like I always do, I try to give us both ends of the argument and trying to give her a fair shake. So I'm gonna catch hate. So here's your warning right now, but I do believe your babies come over your animals and your pets. Now, I do love cats, I love dogs, I love horses, I have fish, I've had animals all throughout my childhood. I love animals, even squirrels and birds that are like around my complex. Now, the only scenario I know of this, like, you know, personally is my brother had a dog. It's a large dog, raised as a puppy, amazing animal, right? And just one day it flipped a freaking switch. It was bizarre where nobody really knows why, but for a good 5 minutes, that dog just started attacking things, going crazy, and just being a very big threat. Like, I won't go too far into like the graphic details of what that animal did to other animals and the risk it posed towards, like, you know, my nieces and my nephews, but it was if anybody's been in like a fist fight, 1 minute is a very, very long time. And I'm talking about this dog went at it for 5+ minutes of just trying to get anything it could. And it was very scary. And the idea is it was sprayed down with water. It was maced. We even thought we would just have to shoot it at one point in time because nothing would happen. And just suddenly the dog just flipped the switch and was like, okay, cool. Animals I hurt, people, yeah, I'm good. I'm happy dog again. And it was very, very sad, but it was scary because you just didn't know what triggered that animal to do that thing. So the decision was made to put the dog down. And, you know, brother loved the animal, adopt him as a puppy. Like, it's part of their family. But yes, you're going to love your animals, but not at the expense of your own children. And that dog, I wholeheartedly believe, at any point in time could have just turned around and hurt one of my nieces or nephews or anybody else's like family. So it was just a rough situation, but I do understand the idea that sometimes you do have to let go of your animals at the you have to let go of your animals for the sake of your children, and I get that. So that's the only reason that I could see somebody saying, okay, you know what, we got to get rid of the dog, it's a danger to us. But I don't see that in this story at all. I just think that this is an inconvenience for her. She wanted a puppy, now she has her Instagram photos, and now she's done. Now granted, I know I'm projecting a bit right there, but just the idea that it's like, I don't think this was fair at all. So we're judging OP, nobody else, and I'm saying, OP, you are not the antagonist. And actually, you're probably pretty much the good guy right now, because you have this puppy. You're very much caring for it. You love it. You're taking it on walks, and you're, you know, helping out your wife through her pregnancy. And this is where you're going to put your foot down, saying, hey, puppy's a part of our family now. Like, you're going to have to deal with it. It's going to be a net positive. Like, babies and like what golden retriever mixes, they're going to get around. They're going to get to know each other very well. They're going to have like an amazing life. It's going to be great. Like, I personally had puppies as I was growing up. So it's like, you know, I can't imagine my childhood without the accompaniment of my dogs. So just the idea, this is a good thing. Hopefully she's just kind of going through a hard time, and later on she's gonna be like, oh my god, I'm so glad we have Cujo, even though that's a weird name they chose for him. But just hopefully they come around, they're all happy and everything's good. But for the time being, let me know how much you hate me. Earn yourself that Decoy coin by putting something in the comment section that makes me think, makes me cry, makes me emote, whatever the case may be. I like hearing what you guys have to think. So just take a short break, put your thoughts down below, and let's go to those top comments right now. So the top comment is, not the antagonist. You're right. A dog is a lifelong commitment, and you both took on that commitment when you got him. Don't make him suffer and lose his family. Animals are living creatures with feelings and attachments, just like people, and they get severely affected by abandonment. Your girlfriend is so wrong in being so selfish, especially when she's the one who got him without thinking about it and without consulting you. So many people have pets, including young pets, when they start families, and they do just fine. You guys will be fine too. He's just being a puppy at this point because he's so young. He'll grow out of it at that stage, and then like you said, with the proper training, he can become very well behaved. You sound like you're providing him good care of him with a loving home, with you anyway. He's lucky to have such a loving and dedicated person like you. So it's good that they're kind of giving him an attaboy, like, hey, this is going to be a tough situation, you're going to put in extra hours, you're going to pay all the bills, and you're also taking care of the dog, so it's a net positive. And here's the thing is, what if there was a burglar in the home and the dog barks at him away, or, you know, at some point in time, you know, God forbid your house catches on fire and the dog is pulling you and the family out of the burning building. You know, I'm making stuff up, but just the idea that it's like, dog's gonna be good, is it gonna be a net positive to the family? So let's go ahead and read the next top reply. This is why I think that everyone sucks. The dog will be home with her all day, and she's going to be busy with a newborn. If she's not making the effort now to interact enough with the puppy, she definitely won't be after the baby comes, and he won't be around enough to make up for that. That's not fair to the puppy. As a puppy gets older without training, the more effort and patience it will take to train him. Let's face it, she's not going to do it, and they should find the puppy a home now, rather than wait until he's bigger, untrained, and harder to find someone to take him. Now, I do like that input right there, where they say they're not doing the dog any favors by keeping him there when it's obviously unwanted. It's going to be neglected, and maybe she'll even be mean to the dog, and the dog will like learn some weird behavioral issues where it's just like, oh, people bad or something. In the situation that, yes, it'd be good if they found a home for him, but it's not like it's this pure breed, you know, award-winning husky, or, you know, what is those miniature poodle mixes, or Yorkshire Terrier, what are the dogs that are high in demand, where it's like you can put them online for like $3,000 and people will buy them. This is like a mix, and they joked about, like, you know, just leaving on the side of the street. It doesn't sound like they have a home lined up for him. It sounds like they're just going to take him to the pound, where chances are he'll just be put to sleep at some point in time. So if he has at least 50% of a loving family, it's way better than 100% of a pound 33 months of life, you know? Like, Yes, in the ideal scenario, you find a big family with a big yard with a kid that really wants a puppy, and then he lives as happily ever after. But the reality of it is there are too many dogs in the pound right now not being taken care of, and the idea that they just want to roll the dice with them, I'd rather give him the opportunity to, like, you know, go up with OP and the kid that may or may not love him than the pound. But that's just my thoughts. Maybe, you know, people in the comments say golden mixes are high in demand, but I don't. From my experience, it's just like a lot of mutts, they end up in the pound, they never go anywhere else. So let's go ahead and read the next reply, which is someone saying, how does a husband suck here? And the reply is that he thinks he can force her to be a good dog owner, therefore putting the puppy through her negligence every day rather than finding the puppy a good home right now. And that got a lot of upvotes, but I don't know, maybe it's just my particular experience, but it's hard to find a dog a home, even more so a good home. And the idea that it's like, I've had kittens before, it's impossible, like a free, cute, adorable kitten. Just people don't take animals in. Like, they just got their own stuff on. Maybe it's because I live in Los Angeles and there's just less space for us to have animals, but yeah, let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong. But let's go ahead and read the next top reply, which is, everyone sucks here. Y'all sound very toxic for two people about to bring a child into the world together. The resentment you have for your girlfriend is coming across very strong in this post. You don't feel like she's contributing to the household. You feel like she has zero responsibilities. You don't like her family, and you're mad at her for rushing to buy a dog. It sounds like the dog is becoming your line in the sand for all the things that you dislike about the soon-to-be mother of your child. She shouldn't have bought the dog. You're right about that. And you can lean into being right about this one if you really want to, and force her to keep an animal she knows she won't be a good dog mom to while keeping a newborn alive. Or you can rehome the dog to someone who can take better care of it, and get some couples counseling so you two can work out the resentment before your kid sees it. So I do, okay, so they got gold, they got all the votes in there, and that was the one situation that I was reading in the very beginning. I was like, yeah, he doesn't seem like he's the biggest fan of his wife, and maybe this is like, you know, they said the line in the sand, where maybe this is the turning point where he puts his foot down, where it's just like, hey, you being walked over. Finally, he's going to say, okay, no more. There has to be some sort of accountability for your actions. And this could be a turning point. And the thing is, when people say like, oh, you have all this resentment and you should never be able to say words to him, so you break up or get counseling and you try to figure it out. It's like, I feel like you sell, in this situation, the wife or the girlfriend, you sell them short when you don't think that someone can come to them with adult words and like big people talk, saying like, what, you have such resentment towards her, how dare you ever put your foot down and draw the line in the sand? You know that they can't handle it. She's an adult, she can handle it. You can say, hey, look, this is the time that I want you to actually know that I'm dissatisfied with what you're doing. And the responsible adult person would be like, okay, cool, you know what, I didn't even realize I was doing that. I'm just getting, like, you know, overwhelmed by the situation. Cool. You want to be with a person that can be talked down from being very upset about a situation. You don't want to be with a person that you could just never bring anything up to. You don't ever say, hey, you have some resentments and stuff, and when it gets to the point where you can't handle it anymore, you can't have a productive discussion about it. It's just going to turn into a fight. Now, we don't know exactly what their situation is right now, but just the idea where people are saying, you guys are toxic, you guys can't have a discussion, you guys can't put your foot down, you can't ever like verbalize what's going wrong in your lives. Like, yes, this is okay that you can have a line in the sand. You know, just there's things you're going to dislike about people. That's why you're not freaking clones. You're two people that reached adulthood, that found each other, like to hang out, and all of a sudden want to bring a child together. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to have issues. You better start talking about them now, because then you're going to be utterly, completely doomed later on. Now, that being said, in the ideal situation, if they have another perfect home lined up, yes, you guys suck. Take the dog to that home. But in my experience, especially a dog that's, you know, hyperactive, not a purebred animal, and doesn't come with their papers, it's going to be a lot more difficult to find a home to. So I'm speaking from the perspective that that dog has nowhere to go other than the pound. He's speaking from, hey, get that dog a new home. So there's no right and wrong. I believe that this is a very valid discussion they're putting up. Got a lot of upvotes, and I understand where they're coming from, but that's in the ideal situation that the dog has somewhere else to go to. So let's go ahead and read on right now. The next reply is, it's not that she isn't going to be a good dog mom, it's that she jumped into a decision, and you can tell the lady thought the dog was going to be an easy to take care of. They're not. They're not freaking goldfish. They have needs and wants to play and jump and run and play around. Okay, so kind of hard to read that one, but yeah, just the idea that, you know, it was nice when you think about the puppy and how cute he's gonna be and all the, like, you know, the positive parts about the situation, but dogs are freaking, puppies chew on everything, especially with a small apartment, and if you're only taking it to the park twice a week, man, that dog's gonna be wound up all day. So I mean, I understand where they're coming from. So let's read one more top reply right now. Not the antagonist. I'm worried how she's going to cope with the baby when that becomes overwhelming. She sounds incredibly immature. The dog is a living creature. It's so cruel to decide to get rid of it now. 2 things, OP. Chip your dog so it doesn't accidentally run away when you're at work. And 2, dog tax, please. Oh yeah, send a picture of the dog so we can see how cute it is. I mean, that's true, but you'd hope that that's not what this relationship is, where he's gonna say, no, we don't get rid of the dog, and then she goes, okay, we're not getting rid of the dog, boom, set the dog on the street, no one's gonna be able to find it. Like, you'd hope that that's not where they're at, so you don't want to, like, you know, convict them of being that immature in the situation. So, like always, top comments are for perspective, controversial comments are for fun, so let's see if we can find something entertaining in this situation. So the top controversial comment is, not the antagonist, do not get rid of your dog. And the next person says, why the F not? They're clearly not equipped as a couple to take proper care of it. It's in the dog's best interest to be in a home that it can be properly cared for. This is not a dumb thing for him to double down on the principle. She's pregnant now. They'll be looking after a newborn soon. That's a terrible combo, which is true, but it's just all on your perspective on how easy is it going to be to rehome this animal. If it's easy to rehome the animal, then good, get rid of it. If it's not, then, you know, you gotta stick by it. It's part of the family. And that being said, I also kind of went on my rant right now and when you can choose your baby over the dog, your baby over your pets, because sad to say, it's just like, you know, it's hardwired in us. We need to take care of our children first. But let's go ahead and read the top controversial comment, the top downvoted controversial comment, I should say. So they quoted the idea, they're talking about, you know, she's 39 weeks and then she's a handful, the apartment's not that big, and then he needs to play more. So then they write, at this point, does it not seem cruel to you to keep the hyperactive dog in an apartment this small? And then he says there's not attention and they're not actually taking care of him. So then this person writes, even if she wasn't pregnant, that sounds like this dog needs more energy than your average apartment living dog. I'm surprised you were even allowed to bring that type of dog in your apartment. Then they go on to quote more of the not being able to train and walking him. He's just complaining that the dog needs to be walked more. So in final thought, this person's writing, I feel like you're missing the principle of a dog being a living creature who deserves to have its needs met instead of being kept somewhere it isn't going to thrive out of petty. You said that you would, so you can't change your mind when you realize it's too much to have when you're also literally about to have a newborn that's going to need your care for a 24/7 argument. Then she says, he quotes the idea that the girl says she's overwhelmed. Then they write, don't be dismissive of your partner's concerns. The fact that you're putting overwhelmed in quotes to show you aren't taking it seriously is pretty messed up. You work and she doesn't, but she's about to have a newborn who requires a million times more attention than this dog already does, and she was realizing that the dog on top of a newborn is going to be too much for her all day. That's genuinely being overwhelmed, and for a pretty damn good reason. Then they also talked about just throwing the dog on the side of the road. Okay, so this guy just keeps going, so next reply, the reply is, what kind of location do you live in? I don't totally love my apartment, but who knew it was one of the only ones that actually fit our needs and was in a safe location. So when our name came up on the waiting list, we rushed to signing all the papers. Okay, so he's quoting a whole bunch of more, and they say, actually, in all seriousness, expecting to be pat on the back because you gave in and let her have her family over, you shouldn't be complaining. It's her home too, and inviting family over to your home is such a basic effing right. So he's talking about, you know, giving into all needs, and then they quote, right? Well, it sounds like she doesn't work. How do you expect with someone without a job or income to pay for themselves? When having a stay-at-home parent, it's no longer my money, it's our money, and it's extremely controlling to act like the money is completely yours in these situations. You don't give her an allowance, you don't give in to wanting to some say in food when the only one partner has income. Leaving your other partner with nothing is effed up. So then they say, 1, as you said, she's pregnant. 2, read the above about money and ask yourself if you really think you should be able to bring yourself to clean up after someone who's being that much of a jerk about the finances. You're being selfish here. You don't even have him within a month, and it's a perfect age for a successful rehoming. He already isn't getting what he needs, and your wife wants to make sure he will get what he needs, even with the baby here. You want to keep him despite both yourself and your wife knowing he already isn't having his needs met, and you seem to have no concept of how hard it is to have a newborn and a puppy you'll need to train. You're not even the one that's going to be alone with them all day. You're the antagonist not only to your wife, but massively to the dog. You think your wants should be coming before the dog's needs, and you think your wants are much more important than the dog's needs, that you're even fighting with your wife on a really petty leg. You're the antagonist for also thinking a large, still in training dog is going to be safer around a newborn. You needed to buy a dog at the beginning of the pregnancy, the latest, so he could be trained before the baby is here. At this point, it's a pretty serious safety concern for your child. Oh my god. The dog are living creatures and have needs. What the dog needs becomes before they want. Get him a new home before so he can have all of his needs and all of his love. You're not going to have him you're not going to give him the time to train him. You also need to be connecting with your newborn baby. It's extremely well known that a newborn baby and puppy are horrible combinations, and a typo is not proofread terribly enough, so they got massively downvoted. They say it's an extremely well known that newborns and puppies are horrible combinations. I don't know where you're getting this factual information from, because I have endless examples of puppies and newborns being amazing for each other when it's in the right capacity, where the right care is being taken. This writer is really slamming OP for not getting the puppy earlier. They never wanted the puppy in the first place. He's taking, care of the dog, and they're talking about the dog's needs, rehome the dog. It's like, maybe it's my particular perspective on it, but it's like, go to any animal shelter right now. They're littered with dogs that are going to be put to sleep in the next month, and they're going to be followed by another litter of dogs that will be put to sleep in the next month, and it's just this endless cycle. So he wants to give this dog a chance. I think with this person's living in this very idealistic idea, or an idealistic life, where there's a line of people that want to adopt their hyperactive dog that they don't want anymore, and he has time to do this. And just the idea that he's like, okay, he's saying that he's willing to pay for all the things, and she can stay at home and raise a child. That's good. That they have a good division of labor. He's just saying that he's like, okay, cool. She doesn't have any doesn't have any expenses, doesn't have any or responsibilities. She's just taking care of being pregnant. Maybe he's resentful for it, maybe not, but it's hard to say just by reading this short story. But just the idea that it's like, okay, cool. At some point in time, they decided, hey, look, she's just going to raise the kid. He's going to go to work. Why is he suddenly the bad guy for it when he's just having a hard time with giving up his puppy? Maybe they're reading into something that I'm not exactly grasping, because, I'm a guy. I don't have any kids, so maybe I don't have the best perspective on it. So that's why I say, leave your comments down below. Get your sword for that Decoy coin. This video ran super duper long because of, there's a lot of good different perspectives. I feel very strongly about the situation myself, so let me know what you think below. And also, just thanks for hanging out with me. A longer video, but I feel like this had a lot of different back and forth, and even after reading all those comments, I'm not exactly certain where I sit on the whole who's the antagonist, what the best situation is to be. Let me know how you feel. Subscribe down below with the notifications on. Go visit DecoyNoise.com to see the surveys, give me feedback, submit your story if you'd like, but if nothing else, put this on autoplay and watch the next Decoy Noise coming up next.